Hello friends! In today's video, let's take a look at the Miniverse Spring Series 2 collection. For weeks, I've been so envious of others who've been able to get their hands on these, and when they finally arrived in my area, I was fortunate to come across a fresh, full box that had just been placed on the store shelves. There are 4 different kits to make in this series: deviled eggs on a darling hen tray, a fluffy bunny cake, milkshakes in flower-shaped parfait glasses, and the ultra-rare potted daffodils. Now there's no need to look for pinholes in this series. Miniverse lets you know what's inside each ball by printing the design right on the wrapper. Here's what the deviled eggs look like. This is the wrapper for the bunny cake, and this is the wrapper for the milkshakes. Now when it comes to the daffodils, well, they've proven to be rather elusive. There's no easy, surefire hack to know for sure which ball they're in. Why are the daffodils so hard to find? First of all, the daffodils can be wrapped in any of the 3 labels. They can be wrapped as the deviled eggs, or as the bunny cake, or as the milkshakes. It makes no difference whatsoever. Secondly, if there's only one README booklet inside the package, they will weigh considerably less than any of the other balls. Now normally, in North America, when you get one of the Miniverse balls, it only has one README booklet inside that has English, French, and Spanish. I suppose those are the only 3 languages we're supposed to know. Now in other countries, it's different. The Miniverse balls have 4 booklets covering all different languages. Now for some reason, Spring Series balls, even in North America, are being found with 4 different README booklets of all different languages inside, which is affecting the amount that they weigh. Not only is it unusual in North America to get a ball that has all 4 booklets, but it's also inconsistent because the daffodils are being found with 1 booklet inside, and they're being found with 4 booklets inside. So this is affecting the weight by as much as 10 grams. Some people have reported that the daffodils that they have found have had a pencil mark near the recycle logo on the wrapper. Now again, this is inconsistent, but only the daffodils have been found to have a pencil mark near the recycle logo. It has also been reported that some people are finding the MGA ID code printed inside the white UPC code box rather than printed on the wrapper, which is where it's normally found. And this has only been true on balls that had the daffodils inside. Unfortunately, this has been inconsistent as well. And to make it even harder to know if it's daffodils inside the ball, the amount of kinetic sand found inside the flour mix bag will affect the weight by several grams. Kinetic sand is what MGA will put inside a little bag that's called flour mix. That's supposed to be what you use to pot your daffodils. And some bags will have more sand than other bags. Sometimes the bags come out very, very thin and flat, and sometimes they're nice and fat and puffy. There's no consistency to how much kinetic sand they will actually add in the flour mix bag. So depending on how much they have filled the flour mix bag will affect the weight of the ball. These are just a few of the variations that have been reported online by people who have been able to find the daffodils. So did any of these variations come up when I found my daffodils? Well, let me tell you what helped me the most: my scale. Now, as you can see, my scale is a little worse for wear. I've had this scale for a long time. I use it all the time. I got it as part of a kit to use for measuring resin, 2-part resin, so that you make sure you get equal parts when you're mixing it. And you can change the unit of measure, and certainly for measuring Miniverse balls, grams is the best way to go. So let's go back in time to the day that I was able to find the Miniverse Spring Series. Did I take my scale with me to the store? Yes, I did. Do I feel goofy standing in the middle of a toy aisle with a scale going through an entire box of toys one by one? Yes. And do I feel even more goofy doing it while trying to film the process for this YouTube video? Also, yes. But you know, it's all for fun, and nobody really cares that I'm standing there with a scale. Okay, so here are the results of my weight tests. As you can see, I started with the deviled eggs, which weighed in the neighborhood of 98 grams. And I weighed a lot of these balls, and they all kind of averaged the same weight. The bunny cakes were the heaviest. They weighed in at about 108 grams. And the milkshakes weighed in about the same as the deviled eggs, around 98 to 99 grams. So as I'm weighing, I got to one of the shake balls and all of a sudden it was quite a bit lighter, 93 grams, almost 94 grams. Then I looked at the recycle code and sure enough, there was a pencil mark. So with those two indications, I was pretty sure I had a daffodil. However, I did not have any special code inside the UPC symbol. When I got it home and opened it up, however, sure enough, there were the daffodils. I only got one of the README brochures. That's why it was only 93 grams. And this is the regular Miniverse brochure that comes in all of the kits. And this shows you all of the regulars. There's the deviled eggs, the bunny cake, the milkshakes, and of course the rare, the daffodils. And when you turn over the booklet, of course, it's the instructions on how to make each one of the 4 kits. And the daffodils are just darling. They are nice and tall and brightly colored, and they're not like the botanicals. They actually have the whole root system, the bulb and everything. They are complete all on their own, and they actually stand up on their own. Then the Happy Grow Company box has the 2 pots that you'll pot your daffodils inside. One is a chick coming out of its little shell, and the other is a bunny. And these are as cute as they can be. They have kind of a speckled finish to them. Adorable. Inside your utensils bag, you get tweezers, a bunny top that will be the top of your plastic container, the ball that it came in, and a trowel so that you can use that to dig your kinetic sand. Then inside the special wrapper, you get a tray that also has that speckled finish and a nice fluted edge, a really pretty little tray for your 2 pots to sit in. And you get 2 plant markers. They call them garden sticks. And this is the flower mix, the kinetic sand that I was telling you about. My bag was actually fairly thin. There's not a whole lot in there. So here's everything that you get inside your daffodil kit. Now let's open up the regular drinks ball. This is the milkshakes, and the flower glasses are actually really, really pretty. They're a bright pink and green, and they're kind of a parfait shaped glass, floral shapes. You'll also get a pretty yellow gingham tray that's kind of a flower shape. And the wrapper, of course. You know, I love the wrapper, and they do such a great job with these graphics. It's a little newspaper about spring. In the Keep Cool bag is your resin. And of course, they call it strawberry milkshake. Inside the Jump Into Spring bag, you'll get whipped cream and lollipops. And this was a surprise for me. I didn't realize that it came with these. Now, why there are only 2 milkshakes but 3 lollipops, I'm not sure. But oh my gosh, look how cute they are. 2 bunnies and an egg. And they really look like lollipops. The whipped cream, you get 2, 1 for each of your milkshakes, 1 pink and 1 kind of a teal blue. And here's everything that you'll get, including, by the way, 2 straws that will go with your milkshakes. Next is the kit for the bunny cake, and I'm sure you can tell by my accent that I live in North America. I am on the East Coast of the United States, and this is the first Miniverse I have ever opened that had all 4 language README brochures included. Now, the bunny cake itself is actually quite substantial, nice and thick. This is your pink shredded coconut that makes it look so fluffy. And here's your decorating tools. These are the bunny ears, the bunny tail, the bunny nose, and the bunny eyes that you will add to your cake. And by the way, I didn't mention, but there are 4 different tabletops in this collection, and each one is really cute. This is the resin. This is berry, which is kind of a pink color. It goes under the coconut. And you get a spatula to spread your resin. I love this pretty yellow cake plate. Yellow is so bright and cheery in the spring. Here's everything that you'll get for your bunny cake. And finally, we are to the deviled eggs. Now, will you look at this tray? Is this darling? Everybody's after this. That hen tray is just as cute as it can be. Here's your Spring Vibes placemat and the tabletop for this collection. And look at this bowl. Doesn't it look like an old vintage Pyrex bowl? This will definitely be a sought-after Miniverse collectible. In the Have an Excellent Day bag, you will get your little carrot squares. Those will become the little beaks that you will use in your deviled eggs. And you'll also get peppercorns, which you can use to make little eyes. And here are the eggs themselves. And you get tongs and you get a mixing spoon included. The resin they call mayonnaise, and it comes separately, of course. And here's the picture. The idea is that you'll scoop the yellow yolk out, mix it with the resin mayonnaise, and then put 2 peppercorns, and you put the carrot in kind of sticking with one point out so that it makes like a beak, and that's how you make your deviled eggs. Here's everything that comes included in the deviled egg kit. So let's go back to our daffodils. In the same way that I didn't want to bury the rare mandrake that was in the Harry Potter potions collection, I just thought his roots were so cute that if you stuck him in a pot and covered him up with soil, you were losing all of the detail and all of the cuteness. Well, I felt the same way about these daffodils. I liked that you could see the bulb and you could see the roots and everything. So what I decided to do, rather than bury them in soil, is to do what's called forcing bulbs in water. And I'm sure you've seen this before. Bulbs will actually grow and bloom if you just put them in water. The roots will grow. So that's what I've decided to do with mine. These are all the products that I use to do this remix. You don't have to use these exact products, but this is what worked for me. I have jute, I have glue, I have hard UV resin, a pair of scissors, a UV flashlight, toothpicks, tweezers, the daffodils of course, and then 2 clear small miniature vessels that I'm going to use for my vases. Now if you're an eagle-eye viewer, you will notice that those vessels are actually 2 of the containers from the Miniverse Harry Potter's Honeydukes collection. I am using the tall thin vase that the jelly snakes came with and the short round container that was used for the jelly slugs. I just thought that they would be perfect to use with my daffodils. To start, just cut a small piece of jute and we're going to fray the ends of it to make the roots for the daffodils. Now you can do as little or as much of this as you want. And as you can see, the daffodils, one has 1 bulb, one has 2 bulbs. So I figured that the root systems needed to be a little heavier on the one with 2 bulbs and a little lighter on the one with 1 bulb. So there's no right or wrong answers when it comes to this part. When you're ready, just put a little bit of glue on the root part of the bulb and start adding the little hairs, the little fine pieces of jute that will become your root system. You can add them in clumps as a whole twist of the jute, or you can do one little hair at a time, one little root at a time. And as you can see, I did a little bit of both. And this is how they looked as I allowed the glue to dry. Once the glue was dry, I decided to do kind of a dry fit. And for the short round bowl, I knew the roots would kind of have to do a squash and swirl look because of the shortness of the vessel. But on the tall one, I thought that I could get away with having the roots really long and where you could see them. So I got 2 completely different looks because of the shape of the vessels. And I didn't want all of the roots to be exactly the same length. And I did quite a bit of trimming during this part. Now it's time for resin. I put just a little bit of resin in the bottom and just a little bit of resin on the very tips of the roots to just get things started. My recommendation would be go slow and do just 1 small layer at a time. And the reason is what I have found with this jute is that the roots actually act like roots and they kind of hold up the resin. They don't let it flow and move as easily as I would have expected. The roots will kind of inhibit it sometimes. And so if you do just a little bit, let it sit before you cure it, and it kind of self-levels that way, it'll work better for you instead of, putting it in and instantly curing it. Now, as far as air bubbles go, because I wanted this to look like water, I really didn't mind if I had some air bubbles, because to me, when you see bubbles in a clear vessel like this, it makes it look more like water. In the short round vessel, I even had to poke in a little bit around the roots to get the resin to go down where I needed it to go down into. But always remember this, until you cure the resin, it's still workable. So as long as the resin is still liquid, you can manipulate it, you can level it, you can move it around, you can move around the piece that is in the resin and get it just the way you want it before you cure it. Once you cure it, then it's solid, but before then, you have plenty of time to work with it. Well, I'm really pleased. I think these came out really cute. I even used the chocolate frog mold from the Honeydukes collection and made a little frog to go with my display. I hope you have luck finding the daffodils. If you have any variations that you've found, please leave me a comment below and maybe we can help other people find the daffodils. It's not easy, but part of the fun of the Miniverse is the thrill of the hunt, isn't it? It can be maddening. It can be a little embarrassing to be standing in the store with your scale, but you know what? It's all for fun. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, I'd really appreciate it if you'd give it a like, give it a thumbs up. Be sure and subscribe so that you can see all the fun stuff coming up in my next video. And as always, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time.